Welcome back to the very last episode of the Nick and Tub podcast.
Rest in peace.
That's how I wanted to start it, because we're cutting off the Nick and Tub episodes for a little while.
Yeah, not that we're like completely done with them, but
We just hate each other.
yeah, it's just the dynamic has been so atrocious that we need a third person there to hold us
It's
down.
actually fake the entire way through.
It's been like that since episode 0, and the reason we didn't air it is because we actually got in a fist fight.
Because, yeah, you guys don't know, but like we take a picture and then beat the living shit out of each other. We're cutting off these episodes because, one, they're just kind of like filler ones. Like
they've become filler. They're kind of losing their like point.
Yeah.
And so if it's not necessary, we're not going to continue to force it.
And we feel like now that we have an understanding of what our podcast is mostly like
Other people.
other
And
people
I love it.
and introducing them to the like people that listen.
We need to, and this is our way of truly embracing how it's organically played out.
Exactly.
How it's naturally turned into what it is. We are, rather than sticking to like, okay, this is what we wanted to do. This is our structure. And we're not going to we're not going to let go of this idea that we had when we started. We're truly looking at what it's become and going, this is not entirely what we thought it was going to be, but it's even better than we could have imagined. And so this is what we're rolling with.
So what we're going to be doing is for sure one a week, and that's going to be Thursdays with a guest.
Mm-hmm.
Monday episodes will
Not be every single week. They could be some weeks with.
They could be without. Yeah, it could be every single week for all we fucking know.
Yeah, but we are going to try to use the second episode in the weeks as a bonus episode where we start throwing repeat guests in because we need to start getting our friends back on.
So Mondays will either be like a repeat or a new one, depending on who is around. Like for the next couple guests that we actually have coming on, they're all new people that are only around for like a small amount of time that we're
we get a
open
chance
to doing this.
Yeah, we get a chance to throw them on.
So now we have more of an opportunity where, let's say we run into a fucking wall where we have to get 3 guests on in 2 weeks. Now we can actually do that with having double episodes.
Exactly. I like that.
And it's just, it's more entertaining when there's a guest, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Ours aren't bad, but like, there's nothing new unless we bring facts.
So yeah, that's the thing. Like, and we can do that with guests too if we're just shooting the shit rather than telling stories. Like this episode is a good testament. Like how like kind of like it's just like us. Like, oh, if we were to sit down and just talk on a Sunday morning, what would we talk about?
I really hope you guys are ready for music.
Because we're talking about our fucking
heavily
flavor of music.
Yeah,
a lot. But fuck, I was gonna get to a point.
How dare you?
Yeah, slippery little demons. Yeah. But yeah, that's the aim.
Just wanted to give you guys that heads up. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing like, not that we don't want to do this anymore. It's just like we realized
what I was going to get at. If there's something super like relevant and some big event or something like that, and we feel like, oh shit, like Nick and I need to sit down and talk about the shit, we're definitely throwing out a one-on-one.
Of course.
But
so like they're not gone indefinitely. They're just not going to be as often.
Exactly. That was what I wanted to get at. Like when we feel the need, there will be one.
Yeah. All right. That pretty much does it.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself, Caleb.
All right. I shall.
We're going to start the episode now.
Yes!
Welcome to the Nick and Tub podcast. That was good.
Yep.
Again, always fucking stuff.
I want that fucking dumb podcast. I like it. It's fucking good shit.
That was so good.
Dude, this is the best fucking thing we've ever done.
I was sitting here before you came over, and I was eating breakfast, and I read a tweet from Lin-Manuel.
Oh yeah, the guy from Hamilton.
Is that what I think I know?
He's
him
a
from other
playwright
stuff.
and an actor and all that stuff. Singer, songwriter.
He is
Lin-Manuel
really
Miranda.
Miranda. He is actually really fucking good at singing. He, I think, was the Rock's vocal coach on Moana. At least either vocal coach or he was helping him with like the singing portions that he was doing, because I remember watching a video, so it was kind of cool. He put out a tweet that it said, like, basically, I just quoted it, so I'll just go to it really quick. But it was about breathing, and the point that I was going to get at is, like, I think people forget to breathe, And I know that sounds ridiculous,
I don't think it sounds that ridiculous.
but like when you bring up to people, like you point out, like you're now paying attention to your breathing.
Yeah.
And people listening are probably like, fuck. And
Yeah, I hate that shit. I
so
used to hate that shit.
You realize that like a lot of your breaths are short and they're not supposed to be. Like you're supposed to
they're like shallow breaths.
they're supposed to be bigger. You're supposed to expand your lungs. You're supposed to expand your diaphragm. Everything is supposed to expand. And people breathe into, I was listening to a podcast and the guy was talking about, I'll get to that point in a second, but the Lin-Manuel thing, he said, good morning, 10 slow, deep breaths. I swear you have time to do this. And he put one like empty spaces like this.
Oh yeah.
So it just says 1 dot and then 2, 3, 4. And then on the 5th one, it says slower. On the 6th one, it says breathe all the way into your breath hitches and then slowly out. 7 and 8 are blank. 9 says for all the marbles and 10 says out. And he was like, hi, grateful for every breath and you, vamos. And I was just like, that was real. Like I did it. I followed along with it because I wanted to see how I felt. I'm so goddamn relaxed since I did that. And it's crazy to me because if you're in a panicked situation, if you're stressed out, if you're like freaking the fuck out, even if like you just had a long day at work, the first thing you do when you get home is you go, like when you're in a stressful anything, that's the first thing you do because that's literally what your body wants.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you do that time and time again, like for 10 breaths in a row, just really deep in all the way out, you literally feel like your body relax, your muscles don't tense up as much and just all. And so with that whole breathing thing, just before I misquote the guy, I just want to like make sure I get this right. It's from, oh, no, cool. It's gone. He was talking about how it's important to breathe through the nose and not through the mouth. It's actually like super important. And
Breathe in or
both.
interesting.
Like to stop breathing through the mouth, like mouth breathers. That's that whole joke.
Well, yeah.
That's an actual thing because his name is Laird Hamilton. It was on Joe Rogan's. And I just looked up on really quick on Google because I don't remember every single thing that he said. It was a long piece. But it says, because the nostrils are smaller than the mouth, air exhaled through the nose creates a backflow of air and oxygen into the lungs. Air that we inhale through the nose passes through the nasal mucosa, which stimulates the reflex nerves that control breathing. Basically, breathing through your nose is a lot healthier than breathing through your mouth. And like it opens up all of the passages, and there's multiple reasons why breathing through the nose, I believe, helps expanding because you're supposed to expand your lungs, not just your diaphragm. People breathe into their stomach and it expands the diaphragm. But if you actually like breathe, I don't know if you know the difference. The only reason I know this is because it helps with vocals and screaming. Like one of the things they tell you to do is if you want to do like a long scream, you're actually supposed to breathe into your stomach and hold all the air in there. So there's a difference. Like you can actually like make your stomach blow out or you can puff your chest out. So you're actually supposed to breathe obviously into your lungs, and a lot of people use their diaphragm.
Well, the air's not actually entering your stomach. Just
No,
to like
I know
clarify,
that.
but like how you expand your torso is where like the pressure resides, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always knew the best form of breathing to be in through your nose, out through your mouth. That was what I always been taught by,
I believe
athletic trainers and coaches.
I could be wrong about both, but I know like breathing through your nose is like important to do because
because like I remember like just with cross country when we would run, our coaches and trainers always would like nail us with in through your nose, out through your mouth,
right?
Because it creates like a cycle.
Yeah.
Instead, and it's harder to get like to properly exhale through your nose because your nostrils are so small.
Yeah.
So that was what I always did with running, and I found it to be easier. I tried running with just through my nose, but I always felt like I was like not getting air out fast enough, and so it would like shorten my breath.
You should listen to that episode. It's 1301, I think, of his 1301. Laird Hamilton.
Did you listen to the episode with fucking Bob?
Bob Lazar.
Bob
No,
Lazar.
I need to.
Dude.
I've heard so many things, dude.
It takes the most skeptical people like myself and goes, fuck, there really were UFOs at Area 51.
I need to because I've heard nonstop shit about it.
Dude, it's insane. But while like on the topic of conspiracy theories and stuff,
Let's switch over to what you were
yes,
talking about.
I wanted, because I had asked you previously. I don't think I asked you on air. I think I asked you when we were cleaning up. But if you, I think it was after Devon's, I asked if you had known about the Lincoln assassination and the JFK assassination and how like similar they are.
Wasn't it 100 years apart or
Yeah, it's
like to
crazy.
the day?
I don't know if it's to the day, but I remember a specific picture. But there's like a shit ton of similarities between them.
I'm still listening. Just because like it's on the computer, I need to go check and see if it's recording.
Yeah, go check that, and I'll sit here and confirm if.
Okay, we're good. I just want to be sure.
So there's also fact checks. So I'll bring up like one of the pictures that has all of them listed, and then we can go through fact checks and see how much of it is right.
Okay.
But I know a huge chunk of it is right. So Abraham Lincoln was elected into Congress at 1846. JFK was elected into Congress 1946. Lincoln was elected president in 1868. Kennedy was elected president in 1968. Or no, 1860 and 1960. There's a little dash to the zero. Both wives lost a child while living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. Both presidents were shot in the head. Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln.
That's fucking okay.
Both assassins were Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners. Both of the Southerners that succeeded the presidents were named Johnson. Andrew Johnson succeeded Lincoln after he was assassinated, and I think it was Lyndon B. Johnson. Andrew Johnson. Oh, was it? I think. All right. So Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born in 1908.
Jesus Christ.
John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, was born in 1839.
Wilkes Booth John.
Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, was born in 1939. And then this is
That's really fucking weird.
Then it's a
dude.
stupid, like, both assassins have 3 names. Both names are composed of 15 letters.
Okay, relax.
Lincoln was shot in the theater named Ford. Kennedy was shot in his Ford car named Lincoln.
Oh my God.
A week before Lincoln was shot, he was in a city in Maryland called Monroe. A week before Kennedy was shot, he was with Marilyn Monroe. Lincoln was shot in a theater and the assassin ran to a warehouse, and Kennedy was shot from a warehouse and the assassin ran to a theater.
Are you serious, dude?
This is like all like listed of like the interconnections between
What the
assassinations
fuck?
100 years away from each other. Yeah, and one of my favorite ones is just that like Lincoln was shot in Ford Theater and Kennedy was shot in a Ford, more specifically Lincoln, like
Wait.
because Ford owns the company Lincoln.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? Hold on. Huh. Well,
Yeah. So all
it.
that shit, it's been like one of the oldest like weird conspiracy theories from it.
That's
And-
so fucking. I don't even. Just because, like, I love reading into conspiracies, but really, like, what does any of that mean? Like, that-
Yeah.
yeah, they're connected. Okay,
Yeah.
but it is the fucking coincidence of it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, was it coincidence?
And I think
Was it planned?
Illuminati.
Illuminati.
And then they have I think it's called Tecumseh's Curse. And it's the 20-year presidential curse. And it's the alleged pattern of death in the office of presidents that are elected in years divisible by 20.
Say
And
again.
So, like, if the year that you were born in, or the year that you were elected in as a president is divisible by 20 evenly, then you're going to get assassinated.
Oh,
Yeah.
so 2020.
That's the next one.
Good luck, anybody that's running. I mean, is that really like, has that been
Like
a pattern?
held up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to find out on here. I'd have to see if I can find like a list. It's also the curse of Tippecanoe.
Don't you hate when you don't know if you're saying a word right and you're hoping?
Oh, well, here, I guess there have been interesting. So I think George W. Bush, no, Ronald Reagan broke the curse. But John F. Kennedy was elected in 1960. Franklin D. Roosevelt, he died in office too, but he fucking had like 4 fucking terms. So
Who was that again?
FDR.
Who was the one that had polio?
FDR. I
That
believe.
was him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he had 4 terms. He died in his 4th term.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's a long fucking time.
Abraham Lincoln.
Their terms were
elected
still 4 years, right?
Huh?
Their terms were still 4 years back then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
he
a
was.
long time.
He didn't finish his 4th term, but he got a 4th one, which is fucking crazy. And because of him, that's why we came up with a limit of 2 terms.
Yeah.
Because they were like, all right, that's enough. We got him 4 times in a row. We have people who've lived and died within this dude.
I don't even know if like the system of just 2 terms is good enough, but I literally didn't know nothing about politics. I don't know if that's like, if it should be less or should be more.
I think that's just like a personal thing. I think
I think literally
two's cool because like
two's
if
fine.
you do a really good job for 4 years, then you should get another chance to do another 4. But after that, it's like, okay, like the
But
world
if
is
they're doing really fucking well,
then if they're doing really fucking well, then like most of the time presidents usually like pick like a favorite nominee and they root for them. Like
'Cause do you know-
Obama did that with Clinton, but didn't really help, as we can see.
do you know if FDR was doing poorly or not? I forget. I don't know.
FDR was like huge because he got us through a lot of like really big events, like including the Great Depression.
Right.
And he came up with like the New Deal, which put in a lot of programs to help not as like disenfranchised people.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, including Francisco, are very critical of the New Deal because of how it affects today. It was good back then, but the waves are still felt now, and it can be argued that it was a negative impact. We could see what Hots thinks about that.
I'm cool with that. All this talking reminds me that more recently, I think I've brought this up to you, but might have even been on the podcast too, that there's like a fucking group of monks that will literally take minutes at a time to answer something if you ask them, because they scan like basically.
You told me about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have been heavily like considering not doing anything
Becoming a monk.
becoming a monk. No, but like considering what I say immediately after being told something, which is kind of rough for a podcast because like you'll tell me something, and that's why when you told me about all the
I think it'll be acceptable. You just have to pick a random vowel and then hold that note until you come up with your.
So when you told me about all the things with John F. Kennedy and Lincoln,
yeah.
my brain wanted to process it, but I'm like, fuck, it's a podcast. And then I just have to say, like, I don't know what to think on that. And I'm like, I don't,
So
I know
leaned in
what
and I
to
was
think
like,
on that. I just haven't had any time to actually process it. And I don't know. I was talking to a friend last night, and anytime that she would say anything, I just kind of sit there and stare for a second. And then I, look off, and I told her, like, this is something like I'm
Processing.
yes. And it's not like a new way of life or anything, but it really is something I think people should consider, is rather than instantly just blurting shit out, really consider what you're about to say, especially on a fucking podcast now. Like you can say anything and it gets fucking misconstrued later.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have your words in the right place. You meant well, but it didn't come out well. And so I've been really stuck on that whole idea of just slowly
Yeah.
thinking about it.
I do pretty well with that. And I also like tend to think out loud a lot of the times when I'm trying to figure shit out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times Joel and I have like been sitting down and I've come upon a revelation just by like talking too long. He literally won't even say anything. Like literally like his episode on the podcast.
Oh, Jesus.
But
Shout
like
out to you, Joel. We'll redo that one day.
Next one will do him justice. But like we'll be sitting there and I'll just be talking about something that like we had been chatting about, but I'll go on like a long like kind of like vent/rant and then hit the point of where like I haven't really thought about it, and as I talk about it out loud I'm like suddenly like coming to the conclusion, and then I'll be like, oh my god, I understand it now. I totally understand where I was missing. Like this makes sense. And I was like, thanks, Joel. And he's like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, totally helped you. I did that with you a few times.
Yeah.
Especially going through all that shit that I went through. Like I'd come over and just start talking to you and literally be like, oh, that's what that means.
Yeah,
like
sometimes,
and you just were sitting there staring at me like, yep, that's it.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes like, it's weird. It's almost as if like your line of thinking, let's say like the color red represents like talking out loud, and then the color blue represents like you thinking it through in your head.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if like you can think in the like with a line of blue for a while, and then it hits a point where you like can't get past it, and then you have to switch over to red in order to make progress.
Yeah.
And then once you hit red, then you kind of like burn out after talking about it, and then you go back to blue, and then you like think and you can make more progress on it.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
kind of have to switch back and forth.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Which, talking about Joel reminds me. So, and we've talked about this before, but we're keeping these ones short, and this is just a conversation between you and me, not anything that like I'm stating on the podcast itself. But
Yeah.
Keeping these ones short, probably getting rid of doing these ones once a week.
Mm-hmm.
What I was thinking about was if we do, obviously we do one podcast a week.
Yeah.
Right. And
Minimum.
that's with the guest.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we do two and we just like avoid ours, we do two guests. Like that was something that we had talked about.
Yeah.
But
That would be. Go
ahead.
I would say that would be a killer way for us to reincorporate repeat guests.
That's really fucking weird because that's exactly where I was going with it.
Hell yeah.
That's literally what I was
I
thinking.
like this idea a lot, actually.
Of just like having
New guest, repeat,
one
repeat.
new guest every week, and
then
having a repeat guest here and there
when we can.
Yeah,
Oh, I fucking like that.
because like there
I
are
like
people
that a lot.
there are people that genuinely should be back on here.
Oh, there are people that should have already been back on
Yeah.
here. But like that's the thing, like we keep finding more and more people that we want to throw on. Speaking of which, I got into finally through our friend Larissa, got into our astronomy teacher's Instagram.
I
so
saw
I can
that.
I can
I saw
message
that.
him now.
Oh wait, you
I got in too. Yeah.
no shit.
Yeah. So I'm gonna message him because I got in yesterday, but I was doing shit.
How fucking weird is that going to be? Because every guest that we've had on, I think our oldest guest is Ryan,
Yeah.
and he's 32. And I mean, he's a friend though.
Yeah.
Like that, he doesn't, his age doesn't, you don't even like think on it at all because it's just like kicking it with a friend. But with that teacher,
Yeah.
he's in his 40s. He was our teacher.
I think he's older than that. I think he's in his 50s probably.
Yeah, probably now. I think he was probably in his late 40s when we were in school. But like having our high school teacher come in here and just do a
Shoot
podcast,
the shit.
that would be so fucking crazy.
I'd
dude.
love it. Like I can't stress enough like how much coaching baseball has bonded me with the generation older than ours.
Oh yeah.
Like I love so many people that are my parents' age, and it's so weird because like I see my parents and I'm like, oh, you know, like you old timers, you got some like old ways of thinking, and like, you know, there's a disconnect sometimes just because of the generation between. But then run into people the same age as them, and I fucking talk to them like I talk to like my high school buddies.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. Like we'll sit around and we'll shoot the shit and make some dumb joke. And the only time there's really a disconnect is when I make like a reference to something that's like culturally
Your age.
relatable to my age group. And then I'm like, okay, let me fucking translate this to, I don't know, instead of a Cartoon Network joke, I'm gonna have to make a fucking boomerang joke because that's like your shit.
A boomerang joke. Jesus.
My bad. It's not like SpongeBob. It's like the Jetsons. And they're like, oh, that's hilarious. I'm not talking about Jim Carrey's Grinch. I'm talking about animated Grinch.
Oh, Jim Carrey, that fucking clicked something in my head. I'm right there with you with between Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler, and Seth Rogen.
See you later, Seth Rogen.
If you got to cut one out, who do you cut out?
And it gets rid of everything they've ever done.
And it gets out their entire line of work. Seth Rogen.
Adam Sandler gave me...
Adam Sandler is a legend. Okay, just because he's not going out as hot doesn't mean he's not a legend.
He's going out as hot either. It's just people like don't. It's the same thing as like Dane Cook when everybody was like, "Oh, they're not that funny anymore." It's like, no, that's you that doesn't think
Probably
they're that funny anymore.
It's totally typical to outgrow a comedian's humor.
Like especially because I need to listen to Dane Cook's new stuff, but. Like, yeah, he used to make jokes that were a lot of fucking noises and crashing and shit like that. But it was fucking funny. It's still funny.
Mm-hmm.
But now that he's gotten older, I'm pretty sure his comedy has changed. Adam Sandler, it's just people are like, he's washed out. No, he's not. He's just older.
And it depends on the producer of the movie and the script. Like, it's not just Adam. Like, he can, do his best to make a joke funny, but if it's not a funny joke, like even Adam Sandler can't make it funny type shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Adam Sandler's line of work is way too good to cut out. Jim Carrey's line of work is way too good to cut out. And Will Ferrell, again, legend.
Yeah.
And then there's Seth Rogen. Like, it was kind of unfair.
Yeah, like Seth Rogen.
They should have put like...
I want to see him comment on that and see what he would say.
He's like, fuck me.
I'd kill myself too.
Yeah, with that, you'd have to put someone who's more of like in the legendary category than Seth Rogen. I think Seth Rogen's still like he's relatively younger than them too.
Oh yeah.
So like he hasn't had as much time to even make a career out of himself.
One to throw in there.
That's what I was trying to think. Like who would be a good one to throw in there? Maybe like Kevin Hart or Chris Rock or motherfucker. Who's the one why can't I think of his name? And this is like legendary black comedian. Motherfucker, like he did like the purple drank skit, and like he has that skit of why like he's like in a supermarket get up, and it's a gif on Twitter all the time, and he's like, cuz fuck him, that's why.
Dave Chappelle?
Dave Chappelle, yes.
Oh, if Dave Chappelle was in there.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle, make him the fourth.
Oh.
Now who are you cutting out?
I don't know.
Yeah, now it's hard.
Know.
Now I couldn't answer that one like
because
on the
Dave
spot.
Chappelle is giving.
Dude, Dave Chappelle is a legend. That's what I'm getting at. Like, see, if you can laugh that hard just thinking about Dave Chappelle, he should be put into the
right.
group.
No, that's a very good point.
I argue that if you threw Dave Chappelle in there, Dave Chappelle wouldn't be the one getting cut out anymore. I think you would start to have to like reconsider the other three.
Well, okay, so on the count of three, your first thought when you think of Adam Sandler, like whether that's a comedy, a movie, whatever.
Okay.
On 1, 2, 3.
Waterboy.
Big Daddy. What was yours?
Waterboy.
Okay, that's a good one.
I love
Waterboy. Is good. Happy Madison is
Happy Gilmore?
Happy Gilmore, sorry.
Yeah.
Why did I say Madison?
Madison is the company, I believe, that does the productions for a lot of Adam Sandler's movies.
Okay, so Happy Gilmore. Okay, Jim Carrey.
Fuck, dude. There's so much. Like, it's weird. Like, the first one that comes to mind isn't even like the one that I've watched the most by him.
Huh.
For me, it's The Mask.
Ace Ventura.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I think of like what's the one? He do Bruce Almighty?
Yeah. That was good.
Bruce
That's
Almighty.
fucking good too.
He did Yes Man too, right?
Uh-huh.
That one is fucking funny.
He had that one fucking scary movie about 23 that I never watched.
Oh, I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, that one's all about like how the number 23 haunts him. It's a horror movie. Will Ferrell.
Dude.
If we don't both say the same one, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Okay.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Step
Elf.
Brothers. God
Oh.
damn it! What's wrong with you,
Dude, Elf
Step
is
Brothers?
Step Brothers is.
Oh my
Don't get me wrong.
God.
Step Brothers is a classic, but Elf reigns like supreme during Christmas. And so what I'm saying is like you can't think of Christmas without thinking of Mariah Carey and Elf. And so like to be able to dominate Christmas is huge.
If you don't think of Step Brothers at least once a day, like
Nick, let's do a little math real quick, just to
On what?
put some I'll show you. I'll show you. Step Brothers. Step Brothers came out in 2008, and I was
11 years younger than
11.
you are now.
I was well,
You were 10.
8. I was 12 because 97 plus 3 plus 8.
You said it came out in 2008. It's 2019. That was 11 years ago. How old are you?
How does that make any sense? Because I was born in 97, 98, 99, 2000.
You were 10, 11, somewhere in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's an R-rated
Because
movie.
your birthday hasn't happened this year yet. That's why.
And it was an R-rated movie. And I was 10, 11.
Yeah. Okay. That's totally fucking
And
fair.
when was I allowed to see R-rated movies?
When
I
you
was
were
17.
21.
Yeah. No. So by the time I was actually allowed to watch Step Brothers had already like been on the throne for quite
That
some
is
time.
fucking upsetting because that is one of the best comedies that has probably ever come out.
Dude, don't get me wrong. I fucking love it.
That
Like,
is
it's
one
hilarious.
of the most quotable fucking movies. It's the goddamn Catalina wine mixer. That fucking movie. That movie is so good, dude. You want to go do karate in a garage? Yup. Like, dude, that made me so sad. And then Dave Chappelle, I can't, like, Half Baked is probably one of the only.
Yeah, with Dave Chappelle, I think of like
think
a
of his
bunch of his
comedy.
mini skits
Yeah.
and his stand up.
I think of the blind black man who thinks he's a white man.
Oh my God, yes.
And when he I can't say my favorite line from there because it drops the N-word hard. But it's just how he says it to people. He pulls up to a stoplight and I think he's driving or he's blind, which makes it even better, or he's sitting in the passenger. I can't remember, but there's a bunch of white dudes sitting at the light in a car, but they're playing rap music. And he pulls up and he starts like screaming at them like they're black. And then he says, I won't say the third word, but he says woogie boogie. And then he takes off. And dude, I was like, oh my fuck. That is one of the funniest fucking skits he probably ever had.
Dave Chappelle is fucking legendary. You know what's funny too is if you were to like rewind like back in the day to like comedians of that time, you would be like, oh yeah, like I can never see Gabriel Iglesias falling off. Like I'm not fat and fluffy. He's gonna rule the fucking world of comedy with that shit. And
That
then
shit.
literally after that special, like poof, disappeared.
I never actually really found him that funny.
Oh dude, I used to fucking cry at his shit. I used to cry. Joe Coy was hilarious to
Joe
me
Coy
too.
is really funny.
And
I haven't even seen a lot of his stuff. I just see him more recently, and like some of his stuff on Instagram is just like, what the fuck, dude?
really,
Yeah.
Joe Coy or Iglesias?
Joe Coy.
Yeah. Some comedians like they make their amazing shit, and then it kind of just like never is the same after they like hit that like level, and you kind of get disappointed, but then you just go look to the next comedian.
Imagine like getting to a point and you hit your peak. That's it. When you hit your peak and you just fall off after that.
I would probably like try a different
Route.
like thing, like I would try a different like form of creative project, like podcast or fucking even music, like some other shit. But like I feel like if I could tell that like my time was done, it's time for the next person to like take the throne, then I wouldn't like go down white knuckling on it.
Yeah.
Because it kind of tarnishes your legacy. I feel
I
like
think that's why I like this whole slow growth thing with the podcast, which I mean, I'm obviously down to always expand whenever, but it's just always nice to like see the growth every time.
yeah.
And it just inch by inch,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no fallback.
Mm-hmm.
Like our episodes, to anybody
all the
listening,
fallback.
to
No, I'm
anybody
kidding.
listening, they're the ones that get listened to the least.
Yeah, so if you listen to these, you're a fucking real one.
Yeah, like that.
The
That
realist.
just shows us that like you tune in to all of them.
Mhm.
Which I mean, there's so fucking many at this point. Where this is 28. Like
Mhm.
it's hard to keep up with. Even the people that were
100%.
like fucking, oh dude,
The
I'm gonna listen
hardcore
to every
followers
single
we have,
one.
yeah.
You fall off eventually.
Yeah.
Especially when they're fucking 3 hours long. Which is why like I think I even fucking fell off, dude. I couldn't
I fell
keep
off
up
too.
with-
I stopped once I heard that you stopped listening, but it was way after you stopped
way
listening.
after.
I was like, oh shit, I mean, I could stop listening too, because like I will have other shit I want to listen to as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, if it gets to that point, like maybe we could like slow it down a little.
Yeah, it just not even for the only for the sake of that, but just for the sake of like our own time too.
Yeah, definitely. I went back and listened to Devin's though. I had to.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah, that one is really good. I listened to like a 5-minute piece of it, and I was just like, wow, it's fucking solid, dude.
You're like, I actually just played our intro for 5 minutes.
Just that,
But it was good.
just on repeat. But it was hard keeping up with this and wanting to consume stuff that I hadn't already
Mhm.
consumed. Like I literally
Exactly.
consumed this content already. Like yeah,
Mhm.
I miss a few words here and there, and the first like fucking what was it? The first 6 that I listened to, or first 10, something along those lines. Yeah, dude, I think I only listened to like the first 6. We're on 28.
I only stopped like a few episodes ago.
That's so fucking crazy
Mm.
to think that we're already on 28. But like I remember listening back to him. I was driving to work and I was like fucking cracking up in the car because there were a few things that I had missed.
Yeah.
But that's not as important as like literal hours long of content
Of
from
new
other
shit.
people that
so
I've never heard.
It's not new to us because we lived it, but to people who are listening, it's new to them, and that's
Right.
why it's much, much more enjoyable.
Like with Devon's, I think I'd listen back on it just because there was so much information that I didn't grasp onto everything.
Yeah.
But I grasped onto like key components, especially like his story about like that car crash and
Yeah.
all that other stuff, like the key stories, the fucking
Mhm.
falling through the roof. That shit's, it's all good, but it's hard, dude, when you are constantly consumed by content. Like you have your YouTube videos and the people that you follow on YouTube. You got your podcast and the people you follow there, and then people want you to watch movies and shows and listen to
Yeah.
this song. And
Dude, there's so many Netflix shows that I would love to just be able to sit down, pause time, and binge.
oh, if I
but-
could fucking pause time, dude.
But I can't. Like I can't. Like there's so like I don't watch Netflix at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because of just where I want my time to go.
yeah.
Even considering it's very limited within the week. Like my weekdays are limited to a handful of hours after work where I'm exhausted and want to talk to people. And then my weekends are like, oh, I'm not working. Let's go do something.
Yeah.
So I never fucking watch Netflix.
Yeah, that does kind of fucking suck. That's why, shout out to one of my old jobs. I actually watched all of Peaky Blinders, which was 4 seasons in the office like that I worked at because there was no work to do. I'd literally walk in, be like, "Hey, I'm here," and I'd sit at my desk and I'd put my headphones on and I'd watch Netflix for 8 hours and go home.
Dude, that was how one of my old jobs was.
Yeah.
Like I was able to spend a lot of time doing me stuff and still do job stuff because job stuff was minimal.
I worked at a yogurt shop and I remember bringing in workout equipment because it was so dead. I would just work out in the back of the shop.
You're like, whoo, and then you just like put your head underneath the nozzle and just
I ate so much fucking yogurt there, dude. I remember like looking at it one day and actually getting sick just looking at
I
it.
bet, dude.
'Cause it was so fucking much.
I bet.
We had these cookie dough bites. I used to just like take scoopfuls and just fucking eat them because I was just like, they're so bomb.
Your blood sugar was like,
Oh, dude, I'm pretty sure I could have gotten diabetes there. Like straight up I'm talking big ass things of yogurt with like shit toppings on them every day, maybe twice a day.
oh my God.
It was bad. Cause like, you forget lunch and you're just like, but there's candy.
That's thick rule talking in your head.
Oh shit. I remember, was it Danny that gave me that nickname? I think it was Danny
Maybe.
that gave me the nickname Thick Rule. And I was
Thick
like, that's a
Rule.
new one. And I actually like that because that one's funny. Like
thick drool.
a lot of
That's what we'll call your like junk food monster in your head.
that's good. But yeah, the amount of content that there is, and then just trying to create your own, like in this time,
Yeah.
in this 34 minutes that we're in so far, like that could have been, we could have been watching a show. There are people putting out like the amount of YouTube videos, like what, 300 hours every minute?
Yeah,
I think
something
it was.
like that. I don't remember.
I think
but
that's what
something crazy.
Yeah.
Something that we'll never catch up to.
Huh?
Yeah.
In your lifetime, even if you could pause time, I really don't think you would be able to consume all of it.
Never.
There's so fucking much.
Never. Are you kidding me? I'm sitting here at 7:59 and I watch 300 hours of content, then press play. 60 seconds goes by, pause, and I have to watch 300 more. I'd kill myself.
Yeah.
I'd die.
It's nuts.
That's why I'm glad that there's good content, and then the other 90% is garbage content.
Like I had gotten high recently and was watching videos from someone that was putting them on, that they had like old stuff saved from like a long time ago, and it was stuff I'd never seen before, but it was like 10 years old, and they were like, how have you never seen this,
Dude, yeah.
And I'm like, I must have missed it, dude.
The amount of times I come across a song or a band and I'm like, oh, this shit slaps. This is so fucking good. I was like, damn, these guys are really onto something here. And I click on their album and it's like, oh wait. And I'm like, fuck.
Oh, that also reminds me, because I was going to send you a song, but I knew that you were at the beach, and I was just like, he's going to forget when he gets in a car. So
yeah.
I was actually trying to plan it when you got in a car, but I didn't see when you did. There's this band. It worked. It actually fucking worked. I was on Instagram and I was scrolling through, and the sound was automatically on. So as I scrolled through, I heard this sick guitar sound, and I pulled it back down, and it was an ad. And I was like, motherfucker, it worked.
I am a sheep.
And it was an ad for this band called Timeless, and the song's called Breathe. The music video I wasn't a big fan of.
It's
but
actually Lin-Manuel Miranda, just telling you.
I was gonna send it to you. It's fucking solid, and I was like, wow, like a new, like kind of heavier, not heavy metal, but like it's
got
kind
some
of like
sick riffs.
like a post-hardcore type,
Yeah.
like Memphis May Fire type stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it's good. And you barely come across that now because that shit is just so burned out.
Yeah, 100%.
Like even new bands are struggling to put out good shit,
Mhm.
or old bands are struggling to put out new shit that
Yeah.
sounds like relevant.
Yeah, or like different.
Yeah. Like, did you see the Day to Remember song that
No.
they did with Marshmello?
No way.
It's good.
What?
It's fucking
That's
really
crazy.
good.
And it's funny because like bands have to deal with that split in their fan base of don't change your sound and this sounds just like all your other shit.
Well, what's perfect about it is it's an actual Marshmello song featuring A Day to Remember.
Okay, Marshmello's a fucking god for that one.
Well, the other thing is that's becoming more of a thing now because I don't know the DJ's name, but they Mice and Men just did a song with them. It's him featuring Of Mice and Men.
Marshmello?
No.
Oh,
It's a different DJ. I forget his
Oh,
name.
really?
But
Dude,
they're doing that now.
I always told myself that if I ever like did music and say I did like fucking, I don't know, fucking rap or some alternative shit, but something you can just make in like Fruity Loops, and I ever like blew up to the point where I could get like significant people on my music, I wouldn't get like, I would, get the cool mainstream artists like Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, all that shit. But I would go fucking hit up like Vic Fuentes and Mark Hoppus and all these fucking like singers from, like all these bands I used to listen to and still do listen to. I'd get fucking Ben Barlow and Parker Cannon and like have these like, and have someone like, oh, this kid's alternative album is gonna drop, and it's just all these features of all these like fucking pop punk and hardcore and screamo guys, and it's
that
like
would be
the
fuck.
dream.
That's a really good idea,
Dude, I would love it because there's so many artists that I wish would work together, but just never have because, when you're in a band, you don't get to do features just like rappers do, but I would treat it that way.
Yeah.
And I would get like Vic Fuentes on the same song as like Parker Cannon, and then have like his voice come in, and then like I do something, and then Parker Cannon's voice comes in, and like people would lose their fucking minds because it'd be super cool.
Yeah,
and
that's actually a really dope ass idea, and I hope that somebody listens to this one day and steals it. Because
hell yeah,
do you have the time to do that?
I don't know. I'll make the fucking time.
Make the fuck. I mean, whenever this like gets to a point where like more people listen to it, and this actually becomes something where like then you can start going into different avenues.
Hell yeah.
Building a community
like
base.
networking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you could do. But I would start now on learning that program if I were you.
Oh yeah. No, I'd love to. That sounds like a ton of fucking fun just to fuck around with.
You brought up that like people that don't really work together, this reminded me.
Like people that don't work together that should do projects together.
Yes.
Speaking of which, I don't know if I told you, the lead singer of All Time Low and the lead singer of Blink-182 started a band together. And it's just a
Really?
duo. It's just them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, like Mark Hoppus?
Mark
or-
Hoppus.
Okay.
Yeah. Not Tom DeLonge. Tom DeLonge is long gone.
I hate you. I'm trying to look this up. I can't fucking remember all the. So there was a band called Drugs. It was Destroy Rebuild Until God Shows. And I believe it was,
brother.
I believe it was them. Maybe it wasn't. There was a band.
Like a super band?
Kind of.
Yeah.
It had. Maybe I'm getting a name wrong. I'll have to look it up. But I think it had Vic Fuentes, Johnny Craig, or Craig Owens.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember.
One of the
between
Craigs.
those. One of the Craigs. And then I think, was it Kellen Quinn? It
Holy
was
shit.
three like major
mega
singers.
stars.
Yeah. And they created a band together.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would get Kellen Quinn. I'd get Johnny Craig. I'd get Tillian, the current singer of
Yes.
Dance Gavin Dance, because
Yes.
he can fucking sing.
Yeah.
And then I'd go and get Brendan Urie, and I'd get what's his fucking face? Patrick Stump, I think his name is. Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
Dude, like literally just have like album after album of this, like just the coolest fucking
That would
vocal
actually be really fucking dope.
features. Get the fucking lead singer of Coin. Why not?
Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, it's not Drugs. It was Isles and Glaciers.
I've
And
heard
it-
of them.
And it has Vic Fuentes, Johnny Craig, and Craig Owens.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so it was
remember
both of the
hearing
Craigs.
about that.
Yeah, and they had like a few songs together, but I was like, you put three really, because Craig Owens,
I
I
don't
think
remember
is,
what Craig Owens is from.
I think he's from Chiodos.
Sounds like an Italian restaurant.
Do you know who? It's Chiodos. Do you know who Chiodos is?
No.
You don't know who Chiodos is?
No, I don't know off the top of my head. I very well could know their music, but
I believe Johnny Craig used to be. There's so many bands. There's so many
That have,
guys
like-
that switched into
Yeah.
different bands over and
Mhm.
over. Chiodo. I'll show you. You'll like them a fucking lot. They're
yeah.
old.
like Under Oath old?
Like
Old?
been together since. Really? No. Hold on. Let me pull up their Wikipedia. But they were like one of the first
Of the genre?
Yes, kind of.
Like
Let's
the post-hardcore genre?
Origin 2001.
I was guessing one in my head for some
Yeah.
weird reason.
Fucking 18 years,
That's
dude.
nuts.
And they're still,
That is like Under Oath old.
I believe they're still making music. Yeah, they have a bunch of associated acts, but the members, past members, they aren't together anymore? Oh shit, they broke up in 2016. They had a badass couple albums, but Craig Owens was in there. I could have sworn there were more people. I'm totally fucking wrong. There was so much information back in the day with bands switching all over the fucking place that I literally cannot remember at all.
You probably like heard rumors and probably are mixing those in there too.
No, there was a lot of fucking. Okay, for example, you have Asking Alexandria, right?
Yeah.
With Danny Warsnop.
Mm-hmm.
When he left or got kicked out, I can't remember. They went and got a guy named Dennis Stoff, and they created one album together, and that guy's fucking weird as shit. And then Dennis Stoff leaves, and Danny Warsnop comes back in, but Dennis Stoff was from an old band before that was like, they had like a couple good songs that were just like heavy for no reason. But there were other bands that were mimicking the exact sounds of like Asking and of Dennis Stoff's old band. So like you get mixed in with those bands and them copying sounds and then people talking shit. And it's just like,
This is how my dad probably felt with Van Halen.
yeah. So there's a lot of like Johnny Craig has dipped his fucking fingers in so many projects.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know about Johnny Craig? Do you know who he is? Like what he's infamous for?
I hear about him all the time.
You know, he used to sell MacBooks
Huh?
and ripped kids off.
No.
Oh yeah, I think, don't quote me, think he went to jail for it,
Huh.
or he got
In
a
trouble.
stupid fucking fine for it. But like See, that guy's all over the fucking place, and now
Sounds
he's
like
got
it.
that band Slaves, and they're fucking great.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But anyway, that went on this large tangent. I could talk about that forever because I was thinking about that in the car. I was like, there are a lot of songs that like people know, a lot of pop songs, popular songs, R&B back in the day.
Yeah.
That people know like all the lyrics to, and I just know the hooks
Chorus, yeah.
and the choruses and stuff that like everybody should know
Yeah,
with
I'm the
popular
same
songs.
way.
And I was like, why? And I was like, oh, right. All through high school.
All my time was spent with the post-hardcore bands.
Yeah, it was just like studying all that. So like I know all the lyrics to that. I know all the lyrics to like Linkin Park songs. I've been listening to Blink 182 since they were fucking, not since they were together, because I think they were together before I was born, maybe, possibly. I'm pretty sure they're goddamn old. And like I grew up with my brothers teaching me stuff like that. Like Pennywise was big with my brothers. Blink was kind of big. System of a Down,
Yeah.
with like that one album. Metallica was huge.
Rage Against the Machine.
Not so much. Yeah, Origin was before 1992. Was Blink's Origin.
Damn.
92.
Can you imagine like fuck, they were adults, already learned instruments, already like had identities and creating a band, and I was not even a thought.
That reminds me of like fucking to build up a band from 92, get in your most popular fucking area, and then decide you want to go chase UFOs. What are you doing, Tom DeLonge?
What are you doing, Tom DeLonge? If they had if they reunited with Tom DeLonge,
They did once.
and put an album out like now, after like Blink's already kind of like put themselves back into the limelight a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, they definitely
would
have.
blow up.
I don't know if it would.
I think it
people,
would.
Oh, actually, okay, I take that back. I think it would blow up because of people's expectations. I don't think it would follow up well.
I don't know. But this is coming from people who have two completely different opinions of Blink's album that they came back with, right? California.
Are you asking me what I think of it?
Yeah.
I've never listened to it.
No way.
Yeah.
I fucking loved it.
No, I just didn't listen to it because like I can't say I'm like a crazy Blink fan.
I'm not either.
Like I know like their most popular fucking songs,
Yeah.
but like when it comes down to their albums, I remember because everybody was listening to them, I went back and listened to their old albums with like Rock Show and all those different songs.
Yeah. What's made you?
I don't remember the album. I just know I've never listened to
It's
the
all
albums.
off of the one with the nurse
Yeah.
with the glove.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the album they came back with, California, I was like, oh, cool. Like Blink-182, like the rock gods are like making another album. And I was expecting it to be like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
And I sat down and I listened to it like through with Springer. Fucking great. I loved it. It was like pure pop punk.
Yeah, I've heard a
right
lot
up
of
my
people
alley.
like it a lot.
But like, I think either Danny or somebody, I think it is Danny, like doesn't like it.
Huh.
And I'm like, oh, how can you not?
Does she not like it because of
I think she just doesn't like the sound.
the sound itself, not the past? Like, oh, it doesn't sound like their old stuff. Because that
I don't think
argument
so.
I've never liked.
Yeah,
at
me
all.
either. I'm not a big fan of that because it's like, then you have to either just cling on old shit and never like let yourself like something new,
Right.
or no, yeah, that's probably what you get to do. Like, unless you like open up and then, you know, be like, okay, I can still like this body of work and not have to think of that body of work when I hear new shit.
Right. Just like which I mean to some degree, to some extent, like I wouldn't say I've fallen prey to that at all, but Memphis Mayfire. I showed you that album.
Well, okay, Memphis Mayfire, if we're talking about them, and I'm sorry for anyone who's listening to this that doesn't know anything about this music because this podcast must fucking blow, but too bad. Memphis Mayfire, that album was fantastic. And then even if you had not shown me that album, you had just shown me their new shit, I would have been like, this is whack.
Yeah, like it's
not just that their old shit was good and their new shit is whack. It's their new shit objectively on its own is whack.
Yeah, because a lot of people really like it. I don't know. I went into it with an open mind and I was just like, yeah, I'll give this a shot. And I was just like, I did it twice. just couldn't do it.
Yeah, and objectively to my own subjective standards, of course. But like, just like
Art is subjective, you asshole.
exactly. And when you hear it, like, I guess it's what happens when the previous work sets a standard for like instruments and lyrics and passion.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, this is what this band can do.
Yeah.
And then you go watch them make more stuff and it's completely falling short of what you thought the standards were set at.
Yeah.
And then you get disappointed.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard for you to kind of like, for the story so far, we'll use them as an example. They have such a high standard for me because of how good their shit is time and time again. And for them to go put out something to the same caliber of Memphis Mayfire's new stuff, I would be heartbroken.
Oh yeah.
And so, and that's the thing, like, that's what I was almost scared of because, you know, the story so far like went off the map for years and then came out with this newest album. And
the newest album's fucking solid.
I was scared when this newest album was coming out because I'm like, I have such a high standard for them. I genuinely don't know how they're going to like impress me because like you have to be able to make shit as good as your old shit. And that old shit ages like fine wine.
Yeah.
And then they came out with, what's the album called? I can't even think of it.
Which one?
The newest one. Their most recent
I
album.
just think Proper Dose is the only thing that I
I
want
think
to
it
call it.
actually is Proper Dose. I think
And then
that's
the
name of
song's
it.
name is Proper Dose?
Yeah, they have a song that reflects the album.
Really, really quick side note to
Yeah, it's an album Proper Dose. So
you and anybody listening before you keep going is like, if the noise is in the background of there, it's my brother making food. I'm just giving that heads up of like, you're going to hear shit. So it's not that big of a deal, but
yeah, so Proper Dose came out and I was like super scared because I was like, I don't want to not like anything they put out. And then I listened to the album and I'm like, who are these guys? How do you keep making better shit and good shit? Like, and it was so good. It was so fucking good.
Yeah.
And it's still so fucking good. And then I see them live and see them perform a ton of their songs off the album and it's so fucking good. and it's like how? Like how? Because then you look at Memphis Mayfire and you're like, the fuck are you doing?
well, that just depends on like where the band is at as a whole. And this applies to any band. Like if they're still kicking it together and hanging out as much, if they're, just getting together to make music.
But even like you can even do the route that Bring Me the Horizon took of completely switching up their sound like drastically each album they put out and still make stuff that's so fucking good.
Well, there's the whole point of you not actually, like, I don't know how much research you've done on them, but the amount of changes that they went through, like from their very first like hardcore heavy shit to where they're at now. And a short thing was like their hardcore heavy shit, they lost a guitarist. And then when Suicide Season came out, they had gained a guitarist. And then when after that, they had like the Suicide Season cut up. It was the fucking DJ remix of shit. But after that, I think it was if there's a hell, believe me, I've seen it. I believe that's.
I thought Suicide Season's
before that.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, I have the albums right here. Let me see. See discography. Yeah, it's Suicide Season, then There Is a Hell, and then Sempiternal.
So all those things, they had changes. So Suicide Season, or from first to second was a change in guitarist. From second to third was another lapse, like another change in guitarist, and then like a falling out with one of the guitarists. The third album was like the singer Oliver trying to like get his life together was the whole third album.
Which one are you talking about? Because you're just going. Oh, okay. So you're counting Count Your Blessings as the first one.
Yeah, because their EP doesn't count.
The EP is Edge of Your Seat?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So Count Your Blessings is the first one. Suicide Season the second.
Yes.
There Is a Hell third.
Yes.
Yeah.
So There's a Hell is him pulling his life together, them going into a transition of their sound.
Yeah.
Sempiternal is when Jordan Fish comes in. And that's when their sound takes the fucking beautiful turn that it took.
Sempiternal.
Sempiternal
goes into the Hall of Fame in this genre.
Goddamn masterpiece.
I don't care what Brandon thinks. It's an amazing fucking
fuck
album.
you, Brandon. And then you have
That's the Spirit.
That's the Spirit.
Yeah.
And then Ammo.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but what I'm getting at is like they went through a lot of shit. They changed a lot. but they still hit that standard for me. Like they still.
Have you ever heard This Is a Hell? Or If There's a Hell?
Yes, I don't like it as much as Suicide Season. But I don't even like think of that one. So granted, you got me there.
Right.
Like
That's my point.
That is my exception because I completely like delete that one out of my.
Do you really?
Out of my head. Not like
fucking
not the
album is
entire
so
album,
good,
but
dude.
like I like a few songs on it. But it's not the same way that I like Sempiternal, Suicide Season, or That's the Spirit. Like I got into Suicide Season like way after the fact. Like
Yeah.
it took me a lot of like getting used to the entire like sound of that genre in
Yeah.
order for me to like then get into the album. But once I did, I was like, this is fucking
That
good.
fucking album's good.
Yeah.
With
Once I heard Chelsea Smile live, it just converted me.
that and Diamonds Aren't Forever is
Yes.
just fucking oh God. But that like is the whole point of bands changing up. But there are going to be times where they just kind of fall short. And that's what I'm saying is with the change up of all the different band members, and this applies to any band, depending on how much time they spend together as a band and like actually understanding each other, like and just going back to Memphis Mayfire when they were creating their third, because you haven't heard their first album, and it's fucking really good, and it's got like a southern twang to it.
Interesting.
Oh, dude, it's so,
Is that the one before the one you showed me?
yeah, The Hollow.
Hollow?
Yeah, I think the whole album's called the Hollow.
The Hollow.
I think I could be totally fucking wrong.
I think you're right.
That album,
Yeah, The Hollow.
the album before that,
Sleepwalking?
yes, dude, I fucking love that album.
Interesting.
And they have a song on there. I think it's number 4. What is it?
On Sleepwalking?
Yes,
Ghost in the Mirror?
yes, that song is on Saw. That's
Really?
kind of what put them on, like one
No
of the things that put them
way.
on the map was
That's
that
really cool.
they have a music video with all the Saw pieces because it's actually used in the movie. Yeah. I was like, that's fucking cool.
That's
so
really
their
dope.
first 2 albums really good. Their third one called
Challenger?
yes, that building up to it, there was a lot of hype for it, and it's still
I
like that's
bet there was a lot
there's
of hype.
actually a lot. There's a lot of decent. Actually, that album's not bad by
Yeah.
any means. What I'm getting at is they had band videos back then. Oh, I really wish you were into music back then because this was our favorite like pastime activity. Me, my brothers, anybody. Me, my brother Patrick, and then Andre, the other brother friend. Yeah. We all used to watch. It was tour updates and studio updates, and they used to make goofy shit, and so like that brought a lot of like unity with the community. That brought a lot of unity with the band and making music that was cool, but making it funny on the way there. Like I remember specifically with Memphis Mayfire, they have a thing where they get a knock on the door at the studio and they open it. Matt, the vocalist Matty, he opens it and it's fucking Danny Warsnop.
Oh,
And he's
from
like,
Masking.
I heard you guys are making an album. Like, can I get on it? And he's like, I don't know, man. Like, it's not. And then he starts to close the door, and like Danny's like trying to pry it open. He's like, come on, just let me be on the song. He's like, nah, dude, it's kind of weird. And like they start closing it, and that song comes out, and Danny's on it, and it's a fucking banger, dude.
Oh.
And like that, the whole thing of like building this community and like letting people in on like the secrets of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then, you see Danny like sneak into the studio and he gets on the mic and
Yeah.
like he does his part and they're like, okay, that was kind of cool. That whole thing, when you do that, that bleeds into why I do shit with the way I do it with like when I was doing the vlogs at the time, why we do the podcast the way that we do, why I do everything the way that I do is when you include people, when you actually like are transparent and you are literally, rather than they're just fans, they're actually friends, they're actually
Yeah.
community, you
Yeah.
communicate with people. When you do all of that, it makes it better. And it stopped doing that eventually, and like the music kind of started falling off, so bands started doing it again where they're posting up on their Instagram and they're letting people take polls and they're showing them behind the scenes. And like
Yeah.
The Word Alive is recently recording an album, and their vocalist is like, when he fucking records their vocals, he does stupid dances and he like throws his body everywhere and he looks super fucking like literally looks like he's on a runway, and it's ridiculous, but you get excited and then you hear it and you're like, oh shit, that's so sick.
Yeah.
And so that's all I was getting at, was just the inclusion process is detrimental to music sounding good in my eyes.
The exclusion or inclusion?
Inclusion.
So allowing people in
Yes. Like allowing people to see the behind the scenes.
is detrimental.
I think so.
Why?
Because I feel like that like when you don't know what's going on.
Oh,
with
so then it takes away from like the shock factor is what you're
no,
getting at?
no. Like you get more pumped for it when you.
So then it like overinflates the hype.
Yes, and then when you hear it, you're like, oh, okay, this is what I heard in that, like when they were teasing this.
Well, that's what I mean by like it takes away from the shock factor because like you get so hyped that there is no shock. Like it's like you kind of have an idea.
Oh no, see, I'm more on the other end of it of just like you don't show them the whole song. You show them bits and pieces.
Yeah.
You show little like 10-second snippets.
Were they showing them entire songs or something?
No, like the whole song with Danny Worsnop was this whole joke, and it was like a 5-minute video of him like trying to get in the studio, all this kind of stuff. And then at the end, they play like just this fucking guitar buildup, and then it cuts out, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
And then you wait, you're anticipating it, and then it comes out, and you're like, holy shit, that is really dope.
Yeah.
Because you built up this anticipation, so yeah, there is the possibility of it falling off and not being as good as what you think it is.
Yeah.
But I think personally, when you allow people in, that again, the whole community build, they feel like they're part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with the podcast.
And you think that's good?
I think that's good.
So why'd you say detriment?
Detrimental? Is that not? Did I
That
use
means
that word?
bad.
Did I use that word incorrectly?
Yeah, you have me second guessing it now, but yeah, that means bad.
Isn't detrimental like?
Detrimental definition: tending to cause harm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought detrimental meant like.
No, it's like if something's a detriment to society.
Oh,
it's bad.
okay. Then that totally was my misuse
That's why
of that word.
I was like, detrimental how?
I honestly thought detrimental meant like
like beneficial?
yes, well, not, like almost like one of those things where it's necessary.
Oh, like
it's
essential?
essential kind of.
Yeah.
But yes, so essential to. Sorry.
Okay.
There we go.
We're having a totally different conversation now. Here we are.
That was my bad. It's
Looks like the same
essential-
page around here now.
It's essential to have inclusion.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, that's why I was like, what? Are you not? I totally misused that word. But yeah, so essential to that is having people be part of like the actual community.
Yes.
Of it.
I agree. And with Memphis Mayfire, like even you can tell like off of the Hollow, the names of the songs alone, like the sinner, the unfaithful, the victim, the abandoned, the deceived, and then you go like skip Challenger, just go to like Unconditional, like that album, and it's like No Ordinary Love, Sleepless Nights, The Rose, Divinity, and it's like you can right off the bat tell that like shit's different, and like I'm not one of those people that's like, nah, positive music is whack, because like I think it just takes a different, like it's a fine line with making music with a positive message because of how easily it can come off as corny. And that's what a lot of their new songs came off to me as like super corny because of like they just weren't doing it right. And a part of me like was almost like, am I just hating on positive music? Like, am I that person right now? But then I think back and I'm like, Neck Deep is one of my all-time favorite bands ever.
Yeah.
And a ton of their music is positive, optimistic, like good outlook music. And I eat it up like fucking cannot get enough of it.
Yeah.
And so I think back to that and I'm like, okay, it's not me.
It's the way it's written.
Mm-hmm.
Because
But it's like you should go do good with your life.
and remember, you're loved. And it's like, but you go back to their old stuff.
Yeah.
And one of my
You
favorite
heartless whore.
No, it's not. Well, just to give the preface that like that's not how it is. Their old stuff is one of my favorite lyrics from them.
Is it the one that's on the t-shirt?
No, the sick, sad waste of a human being. Not that.
Oh, yeah.
It's maybe one day you'll see what you did to me, but until then, I need you to know you make me sick.
Yeah.
And then
you make me sick.
and then it's just it, and the way he delivers it, and it was just the pattern. And then he is like, and I know you think that you're changing. I know you think you're perfect, but your yesterday is a joke and everyone's heard it all before. And I was just like, I remember when I heard that, I was like, and he says that in like a 10-second span. It's just and it's so fucking good, dude. Like,
Dude.
and then you hear this new stuff and it's like, you are loved, remember that. And I'm like, ah, damn it, what happened?
Yeah. And that's what I'm getting at is like you can go through differences, you can change your sound, you can change your band members, but like the quality just needs to hit that level of like, if you're gonna like show everyone that this is what your like lyricism can do, like this is the level you can hit with your intricacy of your lyrics and the deep passion into it. Sure, talk about positive shit, but keep that fucking standard. Like keep that same energy.
And it's just, look, I'm not sitting here fronting like I didn't listen to Unconditional from Memphis Mayfire and really like it. There's a lot of songs on there that I like. It just didn't do the same thing for me. Like I remember,
it's not like Goosebumps.
There are some songs that I skip. Like Sleeping with Sirens has a song that I skip every single time I hear it.
What song?
It's off of that album Madness, and it is. Let me get this right. Which, by the way, have you heard Sleeping with Sirens' new song? Did you listen to it when I sent
all
it?
the fucking time.
It's so good.
Yeah,
dude.
I'm very much so looking forward to what they can do with their new sound. I don't know if you saw, but like months ago, they released a alternative press article on Sleeping Sirens, and it says they were like, this album that we're coming out with will be the heaviest shit we have ever made. And so when they dropped this single and it was like this, I was like, oh, they're not fucking around, man.
Better Off Dead was one of them from, and then there's a song from Memphis that I literally always fucking skip, and I'm just like, which is Beneath the Skin, and it's just like, it doesn't have the right delivery. I get the message. The message is totally positive, and it's like, don't kill yourself, don't cut yourself, don't hurt yourself, all this. Like I get it, but it didn't hit the right way for me personally. For a lot of people, literally have that tattooed. The whole Beneath the Skin. It literally
I bet. Yeah, like
saved lives and shit.
To each their own.
So I'm totally on board with it. That's why I'm not bashing it.
And it's so crazy how like fucking crucial, how detriment delivery is. I mean,
fuck you.
I mean, essential, because like I can listen to like certain songs that directly relate to me, and I'm just kind of like, this okay, but then like I'll listen to like The Story So Far and Proper Dose, and Parker Cannon's talking about like if he keeps up what he's doing, then like he's not gonna see like the next day, and like he won't see his friends. Like
it's positive, but it shows like this is what was going on in my head.
Yeah, if you keep this up, you'll die here all alone. But you still fill your cup, nodding off.
Yeah.
Like hearing that, like making me want to fucking cry when I'm listening to this like fucking song. And I'm like, I've never related to this. I don't know anyone personally that like I could really relate to this.
What is
like,
it? White bottle, red cap?
Fuck no, it's red bottle, white cap, something like that.
The other way around?
Well, it's a prescription bottle.
Yeah.
And so,
but when he says that, when you told me that's what he was saying, I was like, yo, that's fucking good,
dude. The writing in that, it's like,
it's a positive message.
Yeah, of him like getting better from his drug addiction,
but a dark background.
Yeah, and it's so fucking good. And then same thing with 21 Pilots. Their music is like totally happy music, dark message.
Paramore.
Same thing.
Have you heard their newest album?
I don't think so.
So there's a picture that somebody put out, and I think Haley Williams quoted it, and she was like, "You're not wrong, though." I think she did, but it said it showed a kid on a swing at like a little park, but in the background there were firefighters and a house on fire, and it was an actual picture.
I think I've seen that picture.
And it said the music. It showed the kid on the swing, and it said the music to Paramore's new album, and then the house on fire, and it said the lyrics to Paramore's new album. And it is that way because it's super upbeat and happy, but the lyrics are fucking sad, and it's like this. Is melancholy the right word for that?
Melancholy is kind of like low and sad and like I whenever I hear the word melancholy, I always think of Megamind, that movie, because he never can get any of like the English words right. So he's like, I feel so malunky.
My favorite quote from that movie is when she slams on the brakes and he hits his head on the front, and he's like, "Oh, my big blue head."
Oh, my big blue head. Or the one where he's like, what's that? And he's like, it's my old shul house.
Shul house.
But yeah, melancholy is the feeling of pensive sadness, typically with no obvious cause.
Yeah. So that is kind of like, you feel like this melancholy type of like Well, no, because there is an obvious cause, so I guess it doesn't really work. Because it's like her lyrics are extremely fucking sad, but it's such a weird but perfectly made album because the lyrics are so sad, but the music is so happy. And genuinely, you're sitting there the whole time and you're singing along, and then you realize what you're singing along to, and you get really sad.
Dude, seriously, that's the exact thing I get from Tone on Palace. Like it's like you're sitting there and you're like, oh, this is just so cheery.
Yeah.
You're like, I love it so much. And you're like, I really want to get these lyrics right though. And then you go on Genius and then like you start reading, you're like, okay, the fuck is this?
All right, whatever you say.
There's a song by this band called Trophy Eyes.
Yes.
I don't know if you've gotten into them before.
I actually saw them live, but I never got into them.
It was when we went to Warped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I think I saw them at a different concert entirely. I think they
well,
were opened, but go on.
Trophy Eyes quickly made themselves as one of my favorite bands ever. I went from because how I found them was when our big trip to Warped in Ventura.
Yeah.
I was super stoked for that. And so when they released the lineup for Warped, Trophy Eyes was one of the bands on there. And I was like, okay, I want to get into some of these bands I don't know. So I got into Trophy Eyes, and they showed a music video when they announced their name as one of the bands. And so I found that music video, and that was my first song exposed to them. And I was like, I really don't like how the singer screams. Like, it's just not like my type of, it doesn't hit anything for me.
Yeah.
And nor do I like his singing that much. And first of all, completely grew on me, and now I love it. It's such a unique, different sound. I went from this is different, I don't like it, to this is different, I love it more than everything else.
Yeah.
But the song was called Chlorine, and it's almost like a dream state sounding song when for the hook, and literally in the song he says, I'm still dreaming. But I was like, this is really good, and so I go and look up the lyrics for it, and it's basically him talking about how he fell in a pool when he was a kid and he couldn't swim. And this kid dove in and saved his life from drowning. And they didn't talk much or didn't cross paths a lot, but he just knew this kid as the kid who saved his life. And then in high school, that same kid who saved his life took his own life and killed himself. And it was over a breakup, I believe. And so that song is dedicated to that guy that was someone that they just would always cross paths. And he's he called him, in the song, he calls him a friend of friends. But the last lyrics of the song are we were just two kids when you pulled me out. We never really spoke, but I still saw you around. Friends of friends. What does that mean to you now? I heard everybody came when they put you in the ground. And dude,
literally when you said the put me in the ground, my whole body just got chills. Fuck, that sucks,
dude. And I played this song for Joel and somebody else. Fuck, I can't remember who the other person was. I don't want to say Springer because I feel like I already showed Springer the band by then. But I played the song for Joel. He's like, oh, this is a pretty cool song. And I was like, all right, now here. And in the backseat, I hand him my phone, which has the Genius lyrics for it. I was like, we're going to listen to it again, but you're going to listen to it with the lyrics in front of you. And he goes, okay. And then after it's finished playing and I pause it, I look over, Joel just has his hand over his mouth. He's staring out the window of the car. He's like, what the fuck, man?
What's that song that you guys never showed me? It's not from Reliant K, is it? The one that's extremely sad that we were on our way to a Christmas parade.
Oh yes, it's the Christmas song by Capital Lights. And that song will probably make you cry.
Yeah. You guys said you were I'm gonna play it for you, and I was not in a good headspace around that time. It was Christmas time and the whole breakup, and I was just please don't play this right now. I really don't want to.
That would have had you bawling.
Oh yeah, instantly. Especially with how fucking.
That is still one of the saddest songs I've heard. And Christmas songs, sad Christmas songs hit different. There's this one Christmas song about this little kid whose mom had terminal cancer, and he was saving up his pennies so that he could buy her a pair of shoes so she would look nice in heaven. Yeah. And you hear that shit and it fucks you up, dude.
This is how I feel with Architects, because a lot of their songs
has to do with
the guitarist having cancer and them trying to figure out ways to make it better, and then really heavy hitting lyrics. And then the next album has even more to do with the cancer because it's really consuming their life. And the next album is all dedicated to their brother that died from cancer. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking. That's why I lose it when I hear that song, because I've been literally like, the whole fan base was with them through all of it, and they'll like every time they get on stage, they open up with, I believe his name is Tom. So literally on their like big ass fucking LED screen, it just says Tom. And everybody, dude, at all, oh God, fucking getting chills in my body. At all their concerts, they show like the crowd, and it's people screaming the fucking lyrics with tears coming down their face. And it's just like, and that whole fan base was there for that.
Yeah.
And it's literally like they lost a piece of them as well. People make banners and they're holding them up. Everybody has like, one of their shows, like when they first came back, there were probably like hundreds of people holding stuff up for Tom. And it's just like, God, dude, like music is so fucking crazy.
Yeah. Seriously. Like it does certain things to people that like nothing else really can truly compare to.
No, there's something about music that like there has to be an underlying thing within like human connection that's not.
I've been trying to figure it out.
Oh, you'll
for
never
a little
figure
bit.
it. No,
No. Like figure it out as in like Googling it. Because like from like just the like naturalist worldview of like, you know, everything has like a reason, like an advantage or for survival and stuff like that. Music is one of those things with human beings that they're like, there's not really a survival advantageous thing about it. It's just like a kind of like a byproduct of life that humans like.
It's the same thing
love.
as like love. Like there's no real true understand. Like that's how I see it with music and like.
Well, love I understand more because like when it comes to like companionship, like humans work well together in social groups. And so like love is a byproduct of that. It's a huge, overwhelming feeling that you get because you connect either romantically with a partner or like socially with another human or like family. That I totally makes sense to me, but music doesn't, because like you could take music out of the equation, out of human beings, and it's still like human beings still survive. They still do their thing. They still innovate and create and everything. But like the only like real like hypothesis that I saw anybody really has with it is humans love patterns, and they love when they correctly predict how events play out. And so they did so they think that like when you hear a song and it follows a certain pattern, but there's a little variation into it, so it's not too predictable. Your brain gives you like a little like shot of pleasure or like shot of dopamine whenever you like hear a part that like it just like hits right. It's like either like you predicted it right, but when it was kind of unpredictable, or where it was like exactly what your brain wanted to hear at that point, and that's why you like it so much. But it doesn't truly explain it. It kind of just like says what happens.
Literally, the only thing that went through my head was Gwen Stacy. I know it has nothing to do with music, but when like you're thinking, oh, Spider-Man's gonna save her, and then just
the Andrew Garfield film, dude.
Yeah.
When
like,
when you literally like he shot the web out of his hand, she's falling down.
When it had its hand reaching.
The web looks like a hand reaching out to catch her, and he catches her just in time for her head to smack the floor and die. Like,
but that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's literally the only thing that went through my head is like, oh, it's predictable. He's gonna get her at the last second, and then just shatters.
And it's such a better event in a movie cinematically than it would have been if he had saved her. Like the tragedy of it is why it's so good. And you save her and you completely lose that opportunity to make such a tragic and beautiful scene.
Damn, this shit is getting dark.
Dude, it's so good. I wonder how I wonder how people back in the day, like Renaissance era. I wonder how they felt like when they got this. Like if they felt these same emotions, or maybe even stronger or not as strong when they were to look at like art at that time. Because that's what they had, like paintings and sculpture. And when like Beethoven came around, I think Beethoven came around like 1300s or something like that. When that shit started up, like I wonder if this was like the same like goosebumps, tears down their face level of shit that they felt when they were to like look at a painting or hear like a symphony.
Right.
If it actually hit the same way, because like they had their own like intrinsic interpretation and connection to it, or if it was just like regarded as beauty.
Yeah.
And that was that.
The whole thing on love that I was getting at, which I don't have the thought put together, so I won't get into it. And on top of that, we'll just wrap it up soon. Is you've seen
Just kidding. Beethoven was born in 1770.
what year did you say?
I said 1300s. I thought it was way earlier than that. Yeah, fucking Mozart, born in 1750. Okay, so right around when United States was becoming a country was when classical music was popping.
Interesting.
I did not know that.
Interstellar.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the movie.
Have I?
So the whole thing with love, right? How like there's no understanding of it, and I think that that's how he got back to where he was supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what I was getting at, and that kind of started when I first saw that movie. That kind of like put into perspective of just like it is a really weird thing that I don't feel like people understand. I feel like there's an understanding of care, and I don't have the thought formulated, so I can't put my argument in there at all. But like
Your red line is out, and you need a blue line.
yeah, is I have like an understanding like you care for people and like you yeah, I literally don't have it put together, but I think that love is a really weird thing that like the whole saying of like the things you do for love. The dumb things you do for love or whatever the case. It's like what causes a human being to go out of their way to do like some of the shit that they do, whether it's crazy good or crazy bad because of love. Like what ultimately can cause a person to do that. Like it's like this, it's a really fucking powerful thing that
it's super powerful. I remember one of the first things I said when I like got like truly serious with Danny was like, I now understand why love dominates art. Why every song seems to be about love, why every painting, every sculpture, every movie seems to be about or have an aspect of love in it. And I never truly understood it until I fell in love.
yeah.
And then it opened up my eyes to
But that's what I'm saying
the
is
entire culture.
that's just a word that we've attached to it. But
Yeah.
it's a whole series of feelings and events
And there's
that
different
lead you
variations
to
of it.
fucking literally have this connection with somebody where like there are times where you hear about people like feeling things from a person that they're not even around, but they can feel like something's wrong.
Like twins having that connection.
Right. But there's like connections through love that people have.
Mhm.
It's like I just feel like there's this underlying thing that like hasn't been understood yet with it. But again, thought isn't formulated, so I can't really expand on that.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to wrap up?
Yeah. I have a fun fact I want to toss out real quick. You brought up Australia. And I was curious because I know of like a couple Australian cities and I know that they're like all on the coast. And so I was thinking like, I wonder how much of Australia, because like Danny and I were talking about it when we were at the beach the other day. And she was like, how big is it? And I was like, I think it's a little smaller than the US. It's actually like roughly the size of the United States. But I knew that a good chunk of it was just desert, right? So I Googled it. How much of Australia would you think is inhabitable?
Inhabitable?
Yeah. Like able to plop a town or a city down and live.
I mean, honestly, when you said it was desert, like that threw me for a fucking loop already. So I thought it was like a lot of fucking green out there. How much of it is desert?
I'll answer, but
I don't know, dude. 10% of Australia,
yes,
is literally
right.
inhabitable.
Yes.
Wow.
90% of Australia is uninhabitable.
Why?
Because in order to form a civilization, you need some type of water, whether it be a underground well or an irrigation system or a river, something. You need water.
Doesn't.
And 90% of Australia is barren desert wasteland.
I thought it was green.
No.
What the fuck?
When you think of the outback, you got to think of like snakes and spiders and all these desert creatures. Like kangaroos are never jumping through jungles, or jumping through like grasslands of like yellow.
True, but I didn't know. I thought that was just like, I guess that makes sense.
Northern Australia has some tropical areas to it, but 90% of it is uninhabitable.
Just because like you only see the part where it's like habitable ever. Like
you see Sydney,
literally Sydney, Australia,
and you
it's
see the
beautiful.
coral,
And
the Great Barrier Reef.
I was gonna say you see the blue, you see the green,
But
you see
you
the city, you
only
see,
see
it's
the
beautiful.
coasts.
Right.
Yeah.
Weird.
It
I'll
is.
have to look that up.
Well, after we wrap it up, I'll show you a map, and it's
Okay.
fucking crazy. So, yeah,
Interesting.
fun fact I want to
10%.
toss out there.
Wow. Okay. God damn, I gotta fucking pee really bad. That was
28.
28. Fucking nuts.
Bada boom, bada bing.
And this will probably be I don't know. We'll see.
We talked about it in the intro already. We don't need to worry about this.
Yeah, but I mean it's just more so just like
Touching a base again.
yeah, these ones are
Going to not be as
often.
regular.
Yes. We'll just kind of leave it there. We won't give it like once. We're thinking maybe once every 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe it turns into once every 3 or 4 months. Who fucking knows?
Maybe it turns into once every 2 weeks.
But definitely, because with that being said, the reason why I want to bring it up again is just to kind of like emphasize the point that it's either going to be 1 or 2 a week now. It's going to switch up, but
Yeah,
it will
and
always
have
be
a
on
guest.
Thursday.
yeah.
Thursday will always be there with a guest. And Monday episodes will either be there or they won't.
Yeah, there'll be bonus episodes when they pop up, and majority of them will probably have guests, repeat
Yeah.
guests.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
Sounds like a
That
blast.
sounds really fucking fun, actually.
I like it.
Maybe we'll do 2 a week and it'll just keep being guest after guest after guest.
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. So thank you for listening. And until next time.
See ya.